Good afternoon, and welcome to the 26-27 NSLP application training. All school food authority participate in the National School Lunch Program and School Breakfast Program are required to complete an annual renewal application at the beginning of the school year. The purpose of the application is to continue the SFA single permanent agreement between Louisiana Department of Education and the SFA. It is also the tool for LDOE to collect annual program specific information. The CMP website will open this week for all SFA sponsors to complete their 26-27 application. All forms can be accessed through the CMP website. The deadline for submitting a new application is August 31st, 2026. SFAs must complete the annual renewal application by the deadline. And please note that we plan to open up this website tomorrow. To access the 26-27 application, you will need to log into the CMP website, enter your login name and password, click the orange login button. Once you are logged into the website, you will see the Child Nutrition Program homepage. Click on the School Food Service green tab on the upper right side of the screen. Next, you will click Forms in the green shaded left-hand menu. During this webinar, all areas of the 26-27 school year application will be discussed. Please contact the state agency if you need additional assistance or have questions when completing the forms. Information on some forms within the application will populate to other forms on the application, so it is important to complete them in a following order. The required online forms are as follows: requirements, policy checklist, Schedule A, collection procedures, collection officials, and income and expense. SFAs do not complete the waivers as we currently do not have any waivers available. The requirements form consists of 4 sections. All 4 sections of this form must be completed by the head of the organization or authorized rep of your organization before entering data into the Schedule A. To check to see who is listed as the authorized representative, follow these steps. In the CMP site, you're going to click the authorized contact under the SFS green tab. CMP permanent acknowledgement, you will type in I agree and then enter in the user ID and password. The user ID and password entered must belong to the authorized representative of the organization. SAM.gov verification. To participate in any child nutrition program, the sponsoring organization must provide documentation showing they have a unique ID number associated with their SAM.gov registration. The unique ID number typed must match the number that was previously sent to LDE by your organization. If the two do not match, an error message will be displayed. An error message prevents the sponsor from completing the application. You can check to make sure the two numbers match by completing the following steps in the CMP website. Click the gray Home tab in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Then under Administration, click on Sponsors and then Sponsor for information. Now you will see the SAM.gov unique ID number that is listed in the CMP website for your agency. The information on this screen can only be changed by the state agency. CMP data sharing agreement, you would type in I agree, then enter in the user ID and password. The user ID and password entered must belong to the authorized representative of the organization. Once all requirements have been completed, there will be a check mark next to each requirement with a date and the name of the person that completed it. The status will then show complete. Next is policy checklist. The policy checklist is a list of the extension policies and current year prototype forms for continuing school food service authorities. It will be used to renew the agreement with the state of Louisiana for participation in the school food service program. Question 1 is the program pricing or non-pricing. The SFA will select from pricing, non-pricing, both pricing, and non-pricing. RCCIs with day students, non-pricing with no day students. RCCIs with day students select both pricing and non-pricing. Only RCCI sponsors in Louisiana that has day students is the Louisiana School for the Deaf. All SFAs that process meal application do not participate in CEP at any site will select pricing. SFAs that participate in CEP system-wide will select non-pricing. SFAs that are partially participate in CEP will select both pricing and non-pricing. Question 2, public release required for all SFAs that are pricing and both pricing and non-pricing. This question can be left blank if the SFA is non-pricing only. SFAs will also indicate if the SFA is using the most recent prototype provided by the state. Question 3, income eligibility guideline for free and reduced price meals. This question is required for all SFAs. SFA will indicate if the SFA is using the most recent prototype provided by the state. Question 4, free and reduced price meal documents required for pricing and both pricing and non-pricing SFAs. A selection is required for all parts A through D. This question can be left blank if the SFA is non-pricing only. Question 6, audit requirements for all SFAs. Part A, regarding receiving $1 million or more in federal funds, the SFA will answer yes or no. Part B, if A is yes, then Part B should also be yes. Part C, all SFAs must provide the most recent financial period that has ended. Part D, to be completed if the SFA does business under another name. Next is the Schedule A. The Schedule A consists of 5 parts: sponsor meal info, documents and certification, site participation list, site meal info, severe need eligibility. The sponsor meal info contains several sections: school breakfast and lunch charges, after school snack charges, other meal charges, adult meal at cost minimum, SFMC, RCCIs only, software use, PLE, and CEP participation. You will notice that on the CNP application this school year, we have added a section below the other charges for meal adult price at cost minimum. Per USDA guidance, FNS instruction 782-5, at a minimum, adult meal prices should be the following: breakfast, current free reimbursement rate; lunch, current free reimbursement rate plus menu certification performance reimbursement rate plus current USDA food value per meal. Note there will be no calculation required by the SFA. This calculation is already completed for you. So for 26-27, the calculated adult meal per at cost minimum for breakfast should be $2.54, and for lunch should be $5.18. As a reminder, if you charge a discounted price for non-program adult meals, general funds must cover the difference and the cost. While a general fund may absorb an overall program deficit, these funds should be explicitly identified as repayment for non-program adult meals. Student breakfast, student lunch, and other meal and after-school snack charges. Enter in student breakfast charges, student lunch charges, after-school snack charges, and other meal charges, employee and at cost. For reduced price meals, please refer to House Bill 1 that contains the appropriation for House Bill 282 regarding reduced price meals in Louisiana. This bill was signed into law on June 29, 2023. So in this section, if the SFA has reduced meals, you will enter in 0 for reduced price meals. If the SFA operates after school snacks and is system-wide CEP or RCCI, leave blank zeros and it provide a at cost charge only. At cost snack charges must be no less than the current year free federal reimbursement rate for snacks. In the next section, if you contract with a food service management contract, please enter in each contract. Only charter SFAs that use a food service management contract need to report this information. Please note that contracts now copy to revisions. Each company in use should be reported with the duration of the contract time frame of 1 year is reported. The next section is for RCCIs only, flexibility to RCCIs when multiple grade groups are in place. RCCIs need to select yes if using large age grade group maximum allowed portion 9 to 12 for all. Software use. All SFAs must answer this question. If an electronic software system is used for point of service and or meal application, the SFA must indicate the name of the software. Page lunch equity required for all SFAs. SFAs have the following option to choose from. 1. SFAs did not complete PLE. This means the does not qualify for the exemption. 2. Exempt system-wide CEP or RCCIs with no day students. 3. Exempt SFAs with positive or zero balance in NSFSA as of June 30th, 2025. Dollar amount must be entered by the SFA that's selected if exempt, positive, or zero balance in the NSFSA as of June 30th, 2025. System would allow for a zero balance to be reported or a positive balance. USDA Pay Lunch Equity Guidance Memo and tool can be found on the CNP website. In this section, the SFA will choose if participating in CEP district-wide or not district-wide or no participation. Schedule A, documents and certification includes the following: SAM.gov registration, unpaid meal charges policy and documents, SFA procurement code of conduct certification and document, SFA procurement procedure certification and document, SFA higher threshold certification and document, wellness policy certification and document, HACCP certification and documents. For the SAM.gov registration, SFAs will enter in the SAM.gov ID and enter in the expiration date. The SFA will also need to attach the proof that the registration is in good standing. Please check to make sure the documents attached for SAM shows an active date. If it is expired, the application cannot be processed until a new document is received. For unpaid meal policy, SFA procurement code of conduct, procurement procedures, the SFA will select yes or no for each. Please note the SFA is just certifying that they have these documents. Documents are not actually submitted to LDOE. The SFA higher threshold certification. If the SFA choose to self-certify, they must self-certify annually. For this section, SFA would choose no to decline using the higher threshold or yes if they want to use the higher threshold. If the SFA chooses yes, then they have to choose what option they qualify for. Please refer to Memo SP-02-2022 for more information. It is also linked on this section of the application. As stated in the memo SP-02-2022, program operators choosing to self-certify must prepare include a justification for the choice. The self-certification must include a justification, clear indication of the threshold, and supporting documentation of any of the following. 1. A qualification as a new risk auditee in accordance with the criteria in 2 CFR 200.520. 2. An annual internal institutional risk assessment to identify, mitigate, and manage financial risk. Or 3. For public institution, a higher threshold consistent with state law. In this section, if the SFA chooses one of the yes options, they must provide the threshold, which is for Louisiana is 30,000 max, as well as the justification for supporting the documentation. For example, if you choose a qualification such as a low oddity, you would need to attach the proof of low risk oddity. As a reminder, Louisiana has a state law for a higher threshold. So if the SFA chooses the third option, the LDO memo SFS 22 times 183 has always been attached in the documentation of the application. As stated on the USDA memo, this option will be for public institutions. For wellness policy and HACCP, the SFA will select yes or no for each. This site participation list will have all of the sites within the SFA. All current active sites will have a green check mark. Any inactive sites will have a red X. At the bottom of the list, there will be a total of active and inactive. The list will also include the site code, kitchen managers, operating days, meals served, and meal service information that was entered in on each site meal info. Under the site meal info for the site, it will provide the site name, address, site code, racial and ethnic data. It will also provide if the site is eligible for free snack and severe need breakfast. You would need to check the box if the site would not be participating. Site meal info, operating at multiple locations. Does this site operate at more than one location? This is when you have a one site name but more than one physical location. We had this issue arise when conducting administrative reviews where a site was chosen for review. When the reviewer came on site, there was actually another physical location that we were not aware of. In this scenario, the SFO will need to enter the additional location details to include the school name, address and city, parish, and grade. Please note that operating multiple addresses will now copied to revisions. Schedule A, site meal info, site meal information. The SFA will select the site where the manager is located, and then check the box indicating the institution has reviewed and affirms the, the below selected central kitchen site. In the next selection, enter in the kitchen manager's name for each site. The SFA will certify that your manager meets all state requirements to work as a manager in a food service operation and has adequately been trained, and is accompanied in all USDA programs requirement, including but not limited to the following: operational food service, meal pattern requirement, offered versus served, HACCP, sanitary code, food service safety, proper food handling, proper use of the equipment, personal management, personnel management, record keeping and accountability, accurate point of service, meal counting and claiming, absolute knowledge of component and quantity requirements for reimbursable meals, and requirement and determination of student eligibility for any meal service and claim for reimbursement, processing of free or reduced meal applications. In the next section, SFA will choose the congressional district and best district if it is not already selected. Enter in the number of operating days. SFAs are required to enter into school operating hours. This section is mandatory. The next section is only for SFAs operating the expanded learning time. This section will be used to determine if snacks can be served before the end of the school day. As a reminder, you must operate a minimum of 7 hours of instruction time in order to qualify for expanded learning. Please note that expanded learning time now copies for revisions. Please refer to the previous memo SFS 22-171 and SFS 23-137 for more information on after school snack operating expanded learning. Under the special circumstances section, if this school has a child daycare area, or is an RCCI, select the appropriate type and select age grade range. Under the accredited school type for this school has been determined by the LEAD system. SFAs cannot edit this information that was carried over from LEADs. However, if this is incorrect, you can now update the grade level by selecting the grade range from the drop-down box. This is a new feature this school year. Under the meal preparation section, click on the check boxes below to select the child nutrition program this site anticipates participating in for the upcoming school year 26-27. If this site is eligible to participate in severe need breakfast program, the checkbox will be enabled. Otherwise, otherwise it is disabled and cannot be selected. Enter the number of estimated students to be served for each meal service and select the time the meal starts. If this a site has multiple shifts, be sure to input the information in shift 1, 2, 3, and 4. If this site does not have multiple shifts, enter your data in shift 1. You will then enter the end of time the meal ends. As a reminder, breakfast should be served near the beginning of the school day, and lunch service must occur between 10 a.m. and 2 o'clock p.m. Choose the collection procedure for each program. Note, make sure if you choose to implement the after-school snack program that you choose the type of enrichment activities at the site. After-school snack must be served after the school day has ended unless you qualify for the expanded learning time which SFAs would need to certify in the section above. Under the offer versus serve section, SFAs will select if they will participate in OVS for breakfast and lunch. SFA will answer if the staff has been trained and the date of the training will need to be entered. Note, the offer versus serve training must take place before the start of operation. There is nothing SFAs need to complete in this section. This section includes state attendance factor. The school year 26-27 attendance factor is 93.21%. Unless a custom attendance factor is requested by the SFA, the default will be the state's currently approved attendance factor, with the exception of residential childcare institutions, which have attendance factors set at 100%. SFAs may use the annually determined state attendance factor or may calculate a custom attendance factor. If an FSA wish to utilize a custom attendance factor, the attendance factor form must be completed. This form can be found on the CNP website under General School Food Service Forms. As a reminder, please make sure to update the attendance in your software system. In the meal service section, select the correct meal service option for the site. If the site participates in any type of mobile meal service, please select the types for the site. Severe need eligibility. This section lists all schools facility for the School Food Authority with eligibility based on student lunches served in the second preceding year, 2025. In the eligibility column, Y is eligible and N is not eligible. In the checked in Schedule A column, a green check mark means the site was marked in the current school year in the current Schedule A 2027 as interested in participating in severe need breakfast for the upcoming program year 2027. Next is collection procedure. The collection procedure form allows for you to create multiple point of service collection procedure, provide details about the procedure, and designate school facilities that use them. The initial page is a list of all existing procedures for each meal, breakfast, lunch, and snack. This list does not contain any procedures until you create them. Allow you to create as many as few as you need. However, each meal service must be assigned at least one collection procedure for each meal service for each site submitted in the Schedule A. The procedure must describe how and where a site counts each reimbursable meal, the collection of funds, and the location of the point of service. Also, the number of collection procedures can vary based on the following: CEP versus non-CEP sites, the meal service at each site, SBP, NSLP, and ASP, the complexity of the point of service, whether the site has alternate meal service option, breakfast in the classroom, etc. Collection procedure roll over from year to year, and SFAs can submit the same procedure used in the previous year if no updates are required as well as create new or existing procedures. To add a collection procedure, click on Add. After adding a collection procedure, this pop-up window will appear. Answer the question and click Save. Next is collection officials. The collection official form consists of one page. This is where the sponsor user will provide information on determined official, pre-verified official, confirming officials, verifying officials, and adhering official. If you designate kitchen managers for each site to be determined officials, then you would check the box. Here's a chart of some reminders about the collection officials. Determined officials can be more than one person. This is the person that checks meal application for completeness and also assigns and records the free reduced pay status of the application. Pre-verifying officials can be more than one person, cannot be the determined official, and can be the software system. Confirms accuracy of the official original free reduced status of the application selected for verification. Verifying officials can be more than one person, can be the determined official or pre-verifying official, but not all three. This person completes the annual verification process. Hearing official, generally one person, only one person, cannot be the determined official or the pre-verifying official and cannot be involved in any way with the approval of verification of applications. Usually the CEO, CFO, or the superintendent hears any appeals resulting from the verification process. SFAs do not complete the labor expenses. Next is the income and expense. The income and expense will look slightly different from previous years. However, the form consists of the same information. The income and expense form consists of page 1, income and reimbursement, page 2, AB, expenses through full use, labor and benefits, page 2, CDE, equipment, other direct costs, indirect costs, page 3, net cash resources on June 30th, page 4, allowable operating balance review. The information entered on this page is for the previous school year. So SFA's enter income and expenses for school year 25-26. This is only this is the only form that you will enter in the prior year's information. Enter the dollar value as reported on your system statistical report. Do not use dollar signs or commas. Text boxes that have been grayed out or cannot be edited. These fields have been populated from other forms. The computer calculates all values in the total column. Note, please refer to Louisiana County and Uniform Governmental Handbook, LAF, for more information on income and expenses codes that are used in this form. Income, page 1, item 1A, prior year end of year balance. Enter in the prior year end of year balance. Item 1B, total reimbursement. Total reimbursement reflects reimbursement received from NSLP, SBP, ASP over the past year, July 1st to June 30th. If the SFA participate in the SSO, these reimbursements should also be included. SSO is an extension of the National School Lunch School Breakfast Program, including SFA claims total. Do not include summer feeding, fresh fruit and vegetable, or CACFP reimbursement. Use cash in lieu of commodities. Enter amount if received cash in lieu of commodities. Equipment grant funds. Enter amounts received and equipment grants received during school year 25-26 if applicable. Note, the supply chain assistance fund slot was removed from the total federal reimbursement category. To check the amount reported for items 1B, total federal reimbursement, in the CNP site, click Claims on the SFS green tab. Click on Claims and then View Claims. Use the drop-down to access the prior year. Click on the last claim filed paid, usually May or June. As a reminder, this includes SSO information if you participated. Click the Review tab. Look for the total amount paid in program year 2026 at the bottom of the Review tab. This amount should be entered in 1B, total federal reimbursement. 1C, payments from meals. 1D, income from extra sale. 1E, state fund. That includes state funds, minimum MFP. Other revenues such as across the board pay raises, state reimbursement for HB1 Act 305 provision, state funds, PIP funds. 1F, transfer in funds received from the school board's general fund that will not be paid back. 1G, other income. 1H, total income and reimbursement. This will be auto-populated. 1I, value of USDA donated commodities. 1J, income and reimbursement and value commodities. This will all be auto-populated. Expenses. Expenses are split between two pages, 2AB and 2CDE. Only purchase made with school food service funds should be documented in this form. Purchases made from SFS with other funds should not be reported. RCCI's additional calculation needed to allocate expenses for the cost of reimbursement breakfast and lunches served, since RCCI's will provide all meals to residents. Expenses, page 2AB. 2A, food use, include purchased food, USDA donated food. On page 1, the SFA reported the value of USDA donated commodities received for use. On this page, SFA will report the portion of USDA donated commodities actually used. 2B, labor and benefits, enter an amount for each applicable line item. Expenses, page 2A, A, D, E. 2C, equipment. 2D, other direct costs. 2E, indirect costs. Enter in amount for each applicable line item. 2F, total expenses. Compare the total expenses reported in an item 2F to the total income reported in page 1J. The total income must be equal to or greater than the total expenses, or else we will not approve the application. Net cash resources, page 3. Net cash resources on June 30th. RCCIs do not complete this portion of the form. Left as zeros. Enter in amount in applicable line items. Net cash resources can be listed as zero if applicable. Allowable operating balance, page 4. RCCIs do not complete this portion of the form. CMP cites, calculates, and populates in this information for you. The CMP website determines if a corrective action plan is needed. A corrective action plan is needed if the net cash exceeds the calculated 6 months average expenses. Note, federal regulations states 3 months. However, we have approved for 6 months. The corrective action plan should include how, when the funds will be used, allowable purchases. As stated previously, the CMP website determines if a corrective action plan is needed. If the excess net cash resources amount will be listed. If the corrective action plan is needed, SFAs will enter in the spend down plan into the application to be clicked add item to enter estimated cost to spend excess cash. Add the line description, unit, estimated cost, and time frame. As you add items, the amount of excess remaining will begin to decrease. Continue adding items until the excess reaches zero. If no spending plan items are entered, then there is an error message on the submitted form page. If there are items but the estimated costs do not cover the excess cash, an error message appears. Only new SFAs need to complete the menu certification. Please do not submit a menu certification form if you're not a new SFA. After completing each of the forms, you will go to submit forms. After the forms you have started will appear in the list. If the check box next to the form is enabled, you can submit the forms by checking the box next to the form. A green checklist will appear. If an error message appears and the box is disabled, you can't click in it. This form is not ready for submission. You will see the message at the bottom that says submission of NSLP forms is not permitted at this time. A list of items that remain to be completed will appear under the respective form name. If the form must be completed for each site facility, the items that remain to be completed will also be listed by site. If you still receive the submission of NSLP form is not permitted at this time message and you have checked all the boxes for the forms listed, then you have not started a required form. Form only appear in the list after they have been started. You must go back and complete the form. Here's a screenshot of an application that is not permitted at the time due to missing information. Once you complete all the necessary forms and corrections, you should be ready to submit. Please click in all check boxes next to the form that need to be submitted to the state agency and then click submit. After you submit it, a LDO nutrition support staff will review the application for completeness. Your agency will be contacted if changes, updates are needed. After the application is complete, LDOE DNS will approve it, and an approval letter will be sent to the superintendent and authorized rep via email. Please note the application goes to three levels of review, so sometimes it can take up to 2 weeks to process and receive approval. This is why it's important that SFA submit the application by the due date to allow time for LDO staff to process and approve. As a reminder, SFAs cannot submit claims until the application is approved. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact us at the information on the screen. If you have any questions or concerns, please enter the information into the chat box. Most of the questions in the chat box have already been answered. Okay, if you have any more questions or concerns, please contact us at the information on the screen. Thank you and have a great day.